Hey guys, Morgan here with Process 101. Today I would like to talk to you about the infamous Illuminati. This has become. Let me get my materials. I got a book I will be referencing a little bit here. Some highlighted stuff that I've highlighted over the years, just so I can keep track of what I'm talking about here. So if you see me look down at something just to reference it, it's just because I have some highlighted stuff. So yeah, the Illuminati has become a very popular subject over the last, I would say probably since 2006. There's been this resurgence in the popularity of the Illuminati, and there are some huge misconceptions when it comes to the Illuminati and what they are and what they do, and it's just really bizarre. But the fact of the matter is most people have not gone back and checked their facts or really know where the Illuminati comes from. You see a lot of people referencing famous people like Jay-Z and Beyonce, and I think even Lil Wayne's been lumped in there. And I can tell you for a fact that none of those people have anything to do with the people who are really running the Illuminati. Now, they may be puppets of the Illuminati, but I can tell you for a fact that they are not true Illuminati. First of all, the Illuminati, if you're part of the Illuminati, you're part of some sort of lineage or fraternal order, or somehow connected through the lineage or the fraternal order in order to be a high-ranking Illuminati. And there is a structure system to the Illuminati. And all of this stuff can be found. It's very easy to access, very easy and accessible information. If you just do your homework and you really go back and look, you can find all the information on the Illuminati. Now, there are very conflicting stories on the Illuminati, and I'll get into that, but, whether or not, like someone like Beyonce and Jay-Z, who use a lot of Illuminati imagery, and they do, they reference it. At least, I don't follow that kind of crap. I don't listen to their music, and I don't really pay attention to the news articles about them or anything to do with them. I think they either are puppets of the Illuminati being controlled by them, but will never be truly a part of them. Or my guess is they're using the gimmick that basically heavy metal bands used in the 80s. Well, it really wasn't a gimmick in the 80s and 90s, because a lot of heavy metal bands just used satanic imagery or these, demons or dark imagery, because it sounded like their music. And I don't think it was on purpose. It's just what happened. But I think what they took, someone like Jay-Z or Beyonce, is they took that gimmick of the occult and pseudo-Satanism and ran with that as sort of a gimmick, and using it or making little triangles and during their shows and shit like that. I think that really is probably just a gimmick, and they're using the hype of the Illuminati right now to sell more records or cause more controversy or whatever. So remember that any of these famous people, especially even people like Jim Carrey, has openly mocked the Illuminati. I have my own opinions about Jim Carrey and what I think he really is. In fact, I think everything he talks about being this really great free thinker and very liberal and progressive and, human rights and spirituality, but I wouldn't buy any of what Jim Carrey says as truth. That he's a pretentious narcissist, and I think there's a lot more going on there than people really see. So yeah, like I said, do your homework, people. Really know what you're talking about. So let's get back to the origins. Now, before I preface that, I'm going to preface with something now. Remember that, especially with the election coming up, that there are 28 out of the 42 presidents have connections to European aristocrats. So like Edward I, Edward II, Edward III, all of your presidents, or at least 28 out of your 42, have come from European aristocratic heritage. Now, this is very important. Or the other 14 remaining have secret fraternal order ties. when there's one exception to the presidents throughout what we've had so far, and that is John F. Kennedy. And what differs John F. Kennedy from the rest of them is he has no ties to fraternal orders. He had no ties to European aristocrats by lineage. What he comes from is another financial institution, but it was not tied to either of those groups. And that is why Kennedy was assassinated, is because Kennedy was bringing back in the Irish Roman Catholic background of him and what he wanted to do, and he wanted to eliminate the Freemason control, banking control over the world. Now, when I reference the Freemasons in this, I want to make it very clear that the Freemasonry and the Freemasonic temple and all of that is all tied into the Illuminati. And I will get into that a little bit. Now, I just want to make sure everyone knows that this is just, my channel is called The Process 101 because this is just like a basic college class. This is a 101 class. I'm not giving you all the information on everything here about the Illuminati. This is just to give you a little starting point and a jump off point to do your own research and find out everything, because I believe me, there is a lot of material out there about this, but I'm giving you the place to start and the truth. Now, like I said, there are some conflicting stuff here, and I will get into that. But back to John F. Kennedy, that's why he was assassinated, is because he wanted to bring in a different sort of power structure. And then there was actually, if you read the police reports, there are actually, preceding Kennedy's death, there are 100 other assassinations tied to the Kennedy family. That is very, very important. So, here is where the Illuminati comes from. In 1776, in the south of Germany, a man named Adam Weishaupt. That's Weishaupt. Weishaupt. Adam Weishaupt is where you want to go when you are looking up anything to do with the Illuminati. He is the central point of where this all came from. And he started this in 1776 in connection with the Rothschilds bank dynasty. He was hired. Well, and also I want to make sure you understand that let me give you a little history on him. A brief history, because there is a lot to him, but he was orphaned and taken in by the Jesuit sect of the Roman Catholic Church. He was made a Jesuit priest. His parents were killed, and so he was sent to live with this Jesuit sect of the Catholic Church. And he was raised and educated, and this is where that comes from. Is I believe there are two sides to this. So there are the side that believe that what he was trying to do, and with the Illuminati, or what it basically means is the illumine, to be enlightened, or in the light. So he essentially started out as sort of this secret society that would meet in his apartment, and they would drink and smoke and talk about progressive things. And a lot of scholars go back and say, well, he was framed as this pseudo-satanic bad guy who started this evil organization. But there are some that say that he didn't do that he was a progressive thinker, he was for human rights, and then he was demonized by the conspirators out there. My theory is part of being part of the Jesuit form of the Roman Catholic Church. My guess is that portion isn't true. In my personal opinion, I believe he was hired by the Rothschilds to formulate this secret society called the Illuminati. And basically what they ended up doing, and through records it shows, well, at least on some record of some high-ranking Freemasons, that the Illuminati basically took over what is today, what today's Freemasonry looks like. There's probably some truth to that. My guess is the Illuminati and the Freemasons are one and the same now. especially in this day and age, they've probably combined powers and ideologies and things like that. Um, like I said, all of this sort of has ties back to the main thing here to remember is the Roman Catholic Church. Now, I've said this to people before. The Roman Catholic Church is the biggest, most corrupt, powerful entity in the world. If we could eliminate um, the Vatican, all of their power, all of their money, destroy all of Rome, all the Roman Catholic churches, take them out of power, do away with the whole religion. America, that's where we need to begin with not only America, but the rest of the world. Because by destroying that power, we eliminate a lot of the control that we have over the world. Because they really are the main control over the world. Now, that has a lot to do with Freemasonry and the Illuminati, but it also has to do with the fact that they control a large part of the knowledge, the esoteric knowledge in the world. Like I said before in my other videos, they have the world's largest library that you cannot access. And like I said, they are the strongest and most powerful organization in the world. $7 trillion. They have everything. They control it all. And there is a whole bunch of stuff. In fact, my next video probably will be on the origins of Catholicism and where that came from. It's very interesting. And a lot of you will see it as soon as I point things out wow, that was right in your face. And that's why, too, the Catholic Church has a lot of rituals and dogma. Funny thing, let's start with the beginning of dogma here. This is a little etymology. God, spelled backwards, is dog. Dogma, which is the rules, the sins, the man-made rituals of the religion. The opposite of God, dogma. I think y'all get that one. So like I said, this was a lot to do with breaking away from the Catholic Church. And I think this has to do with that powerful Rothschild dynasty, which also I would lump in the Rockefellers as well. And all of those guys, they all play a big part in that. So after that, I think there was a lot more to do with if Adam Weishaupt hadn't, if he was a good guy and he was kicked out and he really wasn't part of this, then the Illuminati story is a little, and it's hard to pinpoint all of this down because there isn't a lot of, when you have all this esoteric or occult knowledge, a lot of this stuff is suppressed. So there isn't a real definitive history on all of this, but there is a lot of good information. Like I said, the book I would start with is called Fire in the Minds of Men. It's written by James Billington. I have not read it, but I know that is one of the best books out there about some of the history of the Illuminati. Sorry, I think I'm getting a little off course with some of this with the Catholic Church, but I just want to make sure that you know and understand that they are one of the biggest problems here in the world. And now if you're Catholic, I'm sorry if you're offended, but honestly, they are truly. If you watch The Godfather 3, The Godfather 3 is true. I mean, basically, the Catholic Church is the mob. And that's it. I mean, they are really just the mob. And there's no two ways of getting around that. So, remember that. And really, if you really want to go back to the truth of all of this, really study the origins and history of the Catholic Church and everything behind that. Once you find out the true history behind the Catholic Church, a lot of this will make sense. Like I said, I can't give you all the information, guys. There's just too much here. But basically what Adam Weishaupt did was he set up what would be today called democracy, or the form of democracy that you see. And I think Adam understood that. I think the idea behind democracy looks very good, but what The problem is democracy can be corrupted so easily, that people can be manipulated by it so easily, and I think the Rothschilds knew that, and I think that is why, that is what we have, is democracy. It's because people can, it can be, the government can control people very easily with democracy. And let's go back to where democracy, let's have a little etymology here. Democracy comes from the word, the word comes from demos, meaning mob. Oh, back to the Catholic Church. So demos meaning mob, ocracy meaning rule. So essentially, democracy translates into mob rule, which then later gets posed as the people's rule, which essentially it is. It's people ruling over other people. So remember that. Democracy is mob rules, or mob rule. And this is basically, like I said, this is, the people accept this, basically, today. And this is basically what we have set up today. Sorry, guys, I have to have a drink of coffee. I'm kind of dragging today. And then that takes us back to the dollar bill. And there's a lot of Illuminati stuff on the back of the dollar bill, but not the way that people understand. There's a lot to that. So yeah, let's get back to that, the dollar bill and the Illuminati. Let's see here. So you have the pyramid on the back, which I've talked about before, and you have the all-seeing eye, which is the Eye of Horus, which is an Egyptian god, the god of light. That's where you get Illuminati. That's why there's so much stuff on the dollar bill about the Illuminati, about Freemasonry, and I think that's why I said Freemasonry and the Illuminati go hand in hand, people. It's basically the same thing. But yes, the eye on the back is actually the Eye of Horus, which is an Egyptian god of light. And then also, you know, you've got God's sun, the risen sun. You can see the sun behind it, and there's a lot to do with, if you really go back and look at the history of how we worship the sun and the Bible and all that stuff, it all ties in as well. And then on the back, on the back you'll see, below the pyramid, you see in 1776 spelled out in Roman Catholic numerals. Which references, 1776 references to what I said when I go back. It was founded in 1776, so there's your first indication. And then you have, I can never say this right, so I might butcher this word, but I believe it's pronounced Anatcopitis. Anatcopitis, I think is how it's spelled, is said. Sorry if I'm butchering this, sometimes I don't know everything, people. Is translated, basically means, crowned with success is what it basically means. And then you also have Novus Ordem Secularum, which means the new order of the world, or the new world order, which is where you get all of that conspiracy theory stuff concerning the new world order. Sorry, my eyes aren't very good today. As I mentioned before, I do have an eye condition, so it's very hard sometimes to see. So that's those are where those things on the back of the dollar. Most of the stuff on the back of the dollar bill has to do with the Illuminati and these very ancient things. The pyramid very clearly represents man. There's nothing about God. It's a God, and in God we trust. But honestly, the pyramid represents man. That's that humanist sort of thing. And then you have the Eye of Horus, which is the all-seeing eye. And it also represents the god of light. Hitler knew this too. That was why Hitler was on the path of the New World Order. He wanted to change it. Now, there are also a lot of stuff tied here with communism and socialism, and there's a whole bunch of stuff that is tied into the Illuminati. And like I said, this is just the beginning, guys. There are several good books out there written on this subject. Adam Weishaupt Weishaupt is where you would want to start, really, honestly. I mean, there are whole books dedicated to this subject. You know, and go back and look, like I said before, go back and look at the history of the Catholic Church, especially the Jesuit sect, and then look back at how they came to power. And like I said, I will hopefully be doing a very brief history on the Catholic Church as well. I can't do a huge. I might split it up into two parts. I don't know if I want to go that deep into it because there is so much stuff. And like I said, this channel was never designed to give you all the information. This is just a jumping off point. This is somewhere for you to figure out where to go to. Like I said, I will start linking people that I follow soon. I will put, like I said, if you want true knowledge, find the book companies that are putting it out. This book, which I'm not going to mention right now, is put out by the Book Tree. They're out of San Diego, California. I don't know if they're actually still... yeah, actually, they have a website still here. The Book Tree, thebooktree.com. I would also go to Feral House. That's Feral, Feral House. Their website, they have a lot of books. Anything from Feral House I would trust. They're a very small publicating company out of San Francisco, I believe. So check out those two book companies. Go to Feral House, has a website, www.feralhouse.com, and check out all their books. And they have everything from the occult to drugs to music to all sorts of books on all sorts of strange and weird subjects. But that's it, guys. If you have any questions directly related to this, I can't talk, I'm so tired today. Directly related to this subject, I will have my email down below, and I will also put the link to Feral House as well. I'm not going to put the link to this one. I don't know if they're still actually in business. So when I do double check that information, I may make that available in another video. So yeah, like I said, if you've got any questions about this, please email me, and I will try and lead you in the right direction to or answer that question as best I can. So that's it, guys. I hope to have a few more videos up this week on the channel. As many of you know, I also have my other channel, Batman the Beard, where I talk about all the stuff you see behind me. So I'm kind of busy between the two channels. I also just recently started doing a podcast. This weekend I did a podcast for the first time, so I'll have that link up as well. So it was on my friend's podcast. It's called Man Boy.